Hey guys, it's Miss Yunker. I'm back with some more science facts for you. Today we're talking about science versus pseudoscience. The standards we're going to address are on the board. We're going to distinguish between science and pseudoscientific ideas. We're going to discuss what characterizes science and its methods. And we're going to analyze the methods used to develop a scientific explanation as seen in the different fields of science. So what is pseudoscience? Okay. We may have heard of some of these crazy theories like cryptozoology and the hunt for Bigfoot and the Yeti. In 2012, the world was supposed to end with the doomsday ideas. Astrology, flat earth, ancient aliens on the History Channel. It was aliens. All of those things masquerade as science. They act like it, but they aren't. They're not based on empirical data. So pseudoscience is, and this is the definition. I see a little pencil, so make sure you write it in your notebooks. It is a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on the scientific method. Pseudoscience is a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on the scientific method. So make sure you write that down. If you need a minute, you can pause the video here and then hit play after you're done writing. So how is science different than pseudoscience? Some of those things sound pretty real. I mean, sometimes, right? Science is based on empirical evidence. Facts, measurable, they're observations. They're things that we can see in the world. Science also uses facts from reliable sources. It's based on investigation and experimentation. We have double-blind studies. So when you have a double-blind study, that means the experimenter and the people who are in the study don't know what's supposed to happen. They don't know which pill is placebo. They don't know who's supposed to have the better results. So you're more likely to get true scientific data. Science does progress because they keep doing further testing. They use peer review. So if I do an experiment, someone else then does the same experiment, we compare results. And their failures are studied. So if something didn't work, they wonder, why didn't that work? Let's see if we can make that work. What happened instead? And they keep doing further testing. So that's how it progresses. Pseudoscience, on the other hand, is kind of indifferent to facts. They don't really care if they exist sometimes. They also sometimes create false facts. It rarely uses independent investigation to check the sources. If they found somebody says this is true, then it's true. Abe Lincoln totally fought, zombies and vampires, right? Like, that's a thing. The internet said so it must be true. That's a joke, just for the record. That's not a thing. Pseudoscience relies on anecdotes or stories, memories, hearsay. It avoids putting claims to meaningful tests. So they can say whatever they want to, but they're not going to back it up with a good scientific test. They often create mystery just to hype it up. If you've ever watched Hunting for Sasquatch or the Ancient Alien People, all the ooh music, it adds mystery and gets you excited and brings you into it. It does not progress. We get one fad and then another fad and then another fad. They don't build on each other the same way science builds on prior theories. And failures are totally ignored. They're like, well, that didn't fit what I needed, so I'm just gonna throw that in the trash and not show anybody. So if that's pseudoscience, what's science? Science is the systematic study of structure and behavior of physical and natural world through observations and experimentations. I do notice a pencil. Make sure you write it in your notebook. Science is the systematic study of structure and behavior of physical and natural world through observation and experimentation. Science attempts to explain real-world events using empirical data. Empirical data is observable and measurable facts learned through experimentation. I like to think of empirical data thinking about the empire. We don't argue with kings and queens. We definitely don't argue with Darth Vader. He led an empire, just for the record. So when we think of empirical data, it's data we cannot argue with. This is a crown. You can't argue with empirical data. It rules. There's no arguing with it. It's a fact. Please also write down the definition for empirical data. Everyone gets extra credit if I hit myself with one of these. Here we go. The last thing we're going to talk about today are the different fields of science. So science is pretty much the study of everything, right? And just as long as it's systematic. So science is broken down into different fields. We have astronomy, zoology, geology, chemistry, physics. There's lots more. I just picked a few. Astronomy, unlike astrology, which is the pseudoscience. Astrology, when we're talking about like people's horoscopes, there is no scientific basis that is true. Astronomy is the study of celestial objects, so things in space, and the physical universe as a whole. It's totally a real thing. They collect empirical data. They use telescopes, radio dishes, neutrino detectors. You may have heard about that on Big Bang Theory. Photometers and spectrometers and many other tools. That was just what fit on the board. So when we're talking about scientists, they have tools. They measure real things. Zoology, they study the behavior, structure, physiology, how something is built, classification, and distribution, where they are, of animals in the world. Tools that they use are scoops, nets, samplers, humane traps, microscopes, scalpels, tweezers, cameras. So they're taking actual data. Geology is the study of solid earth. It's the rocks that make it up and how they change. So when you're talking about erosion, deposition, all those things too fit into geology. They use hammers, Mohs hardness scale test kits, hand lenses, and other tools. Chemistry and physics we're going to be talking about this year. That's pretty much where we spend our time in 8th grade science, is talking about chemistry and physics. So this is what the study of chemistry is. It's the study of composition, structure, and properties of matter. We may end up using goggles, the fancy flasks that are open at the bottom, test tubes, funnels, graduated cylinders, and pipettes. There's lots of other tools that chemists use and that we'll use in class, but those are just a few. Physics is the study of interactions of matter and the energy in the physical universe. They use balances, masses, calculators, magnets, lasers, and spring scales, and we will use a lot of those in class too. So that is science versus pseudoscience. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.